All right, nerds, let's get this weekend update going. Sorry if I look a little worn out. I've been doing stuff around the house, and it's literally saying 100 degrees on my phone right now for outside, so that's lovely. How y'all doing? Hopefully you've had some fun week. I know school, my first full week of school teaching new kids, so I'm exhausted. Plus, we started football practice, so that's a whole thing. And it's kind of sad that on some days we have to let them practice in our cafeteria because the heat index is too high. But I kind of like those days because I don't have to sweat outside, which I know sounds pretty terrible, but I'm an old man and I'm on SSRIs and they make me sweat too much. So, but anyways, it's fun watching the kids sort of pick up on the plays and stuff like that. Football's an interesting sport because on the one hand, like when I was younger, I remember I hated it the first time I played it, but I don't know. I almost wish that someone had shown me how analytical it can be, because I think I would have liked it a lot more. Because as a coach, I enjoy actually looking at the playbook, looking at the way the players move, looking at showing them things like how to read a defense, like stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. So, it's something to do. Anyways, school is tiring, but I did get a good bit done this week, and I'll talk about a couple topics today. So first off, what books did I read this week? And I am playing with my lighting right now. I'm trying something else out, seeing if I can't get a bit of a darker video going on and see if it looks good. If it doesn't, just let me know. I'll go back to the other one. There's a brand new YouTube channel, so I'm just trying stuff. Okay. All right. What did I read this week? So I read The Lone Drow by R.A. Salvatore. That was really fun. As far as my review for it, I'll just say that it picks up after the events of the previous book, where there has been sort of this army forged between orcs and giants. And in this book, they even bring in trolls, goblins and stuff too, I guess, but it's mostly orcs. They have united together near Mithril Hall, and they're causing chaos. So on the good guy side, you have a lot of these dwarven characters who were introduced in the first book, which got a bit overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. I'll talk about dwarf stuff later, but then you have Dritz, Duardin, Catti-brie, Wulfgar, Regis. In this book in particular, we're dealing with the consequences of the previous book, where one of the characters is in a coma state, and Dritz is by himself. That's why it's called The Lone Drow. Not much of a spoiler there. And he is seeking revenge against these orcs because he believes one, if not all of his friends were killed in the previous book. So as he goes into it, that's what's going on there, and there was some cool stuff in this book. So I just want to start out with how I rated it. So I'm going to actually skip to the bottom, and I'm going to talk about engagement, because engagement is one of the two areas that got a lower score in. It got a 3. And the reason being is because R.A. Salvatore, he's been doing this thing pretty much ever since the first book. And I think I'm finally getting a little tired of it to a degree. He likes to break. I used to think it was the most unique thing ever, and I still think it's cool, but he gives you the perspective of the good guys, but he also gives you chapters from the perspective of the bad guys. So you get to see their characters getting built up. I'm 18 books into this series. It's getting a little old now. Because every time he's building up these bad guys, they're going to die most of the time. If not, they get away and they die later anyway. So it's kind of like chapters where I'll read this really cool chapter where Dritz is doing some stuff, or Wulfgar and Catti-brie, and then we're shifting perspectives to somebody else that it's fine maybe once or twice in the book, but after that, I'm tired of it. I don't care about the orc leader's son who's currently in a siege against the dwarves. There was just too many chapters with him. So my point is, the reason it's got a 3 and why a 3 for me is it's fine, is just that I felt the beginning to be a little bit slow. I wanted to get more into what was going on with Dritz and things like that. And me and my friend were talking about this recently. He's one of my subscribers, Zachary Cooney. We were talking about how annoying it could be to read all the dwarven talk in R.A. Salvatore's books. It's fun at first to read their accents, but after a while, you're it slows you down because you're trying to piece together what they're saying, because it's kind of a Scottish accent and it's written with the accent. So you're kind of oh, great. Now I got it. And then you have 7 dwarves talking to each other, and you're just lost. So, there's that. The other area it got a lower score for me was setting, also got a 3. I'm just usually the first time we went to Mithril Hall, it was fun. I know this book's not quite in Mithril Hall. The battles are taking place outside of it. But this area that we're in, it's just starting to run dry for me. I'm starting to get to a point where I'm like, all right, when are we going to do something else? Which I know is coming soon, because I know where the Neverwinter saga or whatever is supposed to be like where everything picks up, and that's supposed to be coming. So anyways, the other categories all got 4s for me. I thought the hook was great. I love the idea of like Dritz is on his own and he's got to hunt. It's him versus the 1,000 orcs, so to speak. And so I was like, ooh, we're going to see this Dritz. And he did. He becomes the ranger again and he starts going at him. And that was really cool. The book lived up to its promise with both thematically and physically, it being about this lone drow and what he's doing. Thematically, because he does meet 2 other elven characters, and there's this play on should he join them, should he team up with them, or should he continue to fight alone? Because when he fights with friends, he loses friends over time. And then they also have these conversations about how he, we're starting to understand he lives this elven life and that he's, going to live way longer than all of his friends, etc. So the lone drow had multiple meanings in this book, which I thought R.A. Salvatore did a really cool job of exploring. Okay. And then the last area was characters still get a 4. I love the characters in this world. There's just too many of them at the moment. And he did kill a few of them off, but not ones that like, it's not that I need him to kill them off. It's just sometimes don't introduce them. Like I don't need yet another dwarf being introduced. I've already got to keep track of like 12. So, and then I wonder if I even really need to keep track of them. Does that make sense? So anyways, I still love this series and I'm still nostalgic for it and I still want to see what happens. So overall, this one got a 3.5 from me, but I can see where people would rate these books lower, especially if you've been into the fantasy genre for a while. You're probably wanting something new. So I still enjoy them. I thought this was I don't know what I rated the last one because I've kind of adapted my rating system since then. But I will say I think this one was a bit of a step up from the last one. The last one just took way too long. The 1,000 Orcs took way too long to get going, which makes sense. I mean, this is a trilogy, so this middle book stood out as being like, all right, we're built up for the action now. One thing I will say, I'm excited for the last one, and I might be jumping on that sooner than I thought. I like to space my Dritz books out, but the setup of Ubold, the Orc King, in this one was so freaking cool. Just everything about him getting, because in the first book, he is the leader of the orcs, but the giants are more in charge. And in this one, you're sort of, his perspectives I like seeing. You're seeing him sort of usurp that power and gain more and more. And he may be like the avatar of Grumsh at this point, or Grumsh, whatever, the orc god. So, there's stuff like that. And it's building up, like, it does that cool Dragon Ball Z thing where, the big powerhouse Wolfgar comes in and he barely even knocks the guy back and he gets swatted across the battlefield. And you're like, oh my God, if Wolfgar couldn't hurt this guy, who could possibly do that? And on the other side of the forest, there's Dritz taking down his army. And so you just know in the third book, which is called The Two Swords, you just know that third book's going to have that fight between Dritz and the Orc King Ubold. And I love it because I'm sorry, I'm ranting today. I'm in a good mood. They have a chant in the Orc army where they're like, oh, bold, oh, bold. And it reminds me of the Grong scene from Lord of the Rings where they're all yelling, Grong, Grong, and they're going to bash. I don't know. I was just having a good time reading those chapters. So of all the villain chapters, those were the fun ones for me, like seeing Ubold rise up and become more powerful. And he gets smarter too, which was really cool. He starts being more tactical and whatnot. So I'm waiting to see how this confrontation between him and Dritz is going to play out in the third book, because I do feel like that's what I'm most looking forward to. And it's going to be awesome. All right. Moving on, me and my wife also finished audiobooking Straight by Chuck Tingle. And this was fine. I've been wanting to try a Chuck Tingle book for a while now because of everything I've heard. I thought the book was, overall I gave it a 3.25, a little bit lower than The Lone Drow. And it's really one category that tanked it for me. So I'm going to talk about the good ones first. I thought the hook and the promise was good. Like this idea that there's this cataclysmic cosmic event that literally turns cisgender people into homicidal maniacs for like a 12-hour period, or even like a little bit longer, like a day. And so they only target queer people. And it kind of plays out a little bit ahead of the first time that happened, where our main character, they have now gone through 2 of these events, and now they're about to live through the third one. It happens once every year. So it's interesting. The hook was there. It's cool. Like they have this scene in the beginning where he gets in the elevator and like it's called Saturation Day or whatever. It's coming up, and and there's signs that it's coming up because like straight people will just start acting a little weird. And so there's this old woman who like baked cookies, and there's stuff like in the cookies. So, and she's trying to offer him one, and she's not malicious. She's just slowly losing her mind because of the event that's about to happen. Let's go into, so the hook and then also the setting got 4s for me. I thought it was cool being set in like, I think it's the Midwest, because they're trying to like they rented out this like Airbnb style cabin out in the desert, and that's supposed to be like where they're going to go hold out for the night. So to get away from civilization, no one will find them sort of deal. I thought that was cool, unique settings for this type of thing. It made sense to get out the city, so I was all for that. The next 2 categories were theme and engagement. Engagement suffered because of the weakest category, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But theme, I thought there were themes that were on the nose, and there were themes that were not, and both were fine. The on the nose themes it was very much Chuck Tingle playing on this idea of 2 things. One, that on the one hand, the queer community needs to be ready to defend itself, because I do feel like he brought that up in the end, and that like you can only expect good from people for so long before you need to just take up arms yourself, sort of deal, defend yourself. And then the other angle of that is like he says it a couple times in the book that like the allies of the LGBTQ community, they're all good to be allies until things actually get tough. So there's a few times in the book where like there's this straight character who has a chance to help them and he doesn't. And so they're like, oh yeah, you're an ally until it's inconvenient. So those were obvious themes that I thought were on the nose in the book. He had some other themes about personal realizations and personal how in a chaotic situation you can't always hold on to all your morals. You have to sometimes get rid of those. Sometimes you have to get rid of those nicer parts of yourself, so that way you can survive. And one of the characters in the book, Jason, I felt epitomized this from the beginning. He was all for like he was even cautious letting the main character into the car because the main character is bisexual. And so he's like, I don't know, like, are you really? Are you not? Like, I don't want to risk taking you out in the middle of the desert and then you turning homicidal against us. So he's very cautious and he's very appropriate in his response to this situation, whereas the other 3 characters are not. Which is where I'm going to get to my problem. The characters in this got a 2 for me. I was disappointed in the characters. Other than Jason, they all pretty much sucked. And I'm just going to throw this out there. This has nothing to do with their identity. That was the hook of the book. I wanted that concept. I have no problem with that. If you read my book, you know that I'm an ally. It's just one of those things that the 2 female characters, and I do think, yes, female, because one was trans, but I think it was a male to female and then identify as female. So like so the 2 female characters pretty much did nothing. The only thing they did was one of them flew a drone, and that helped for all of 12 seconds. The whole thing of their identity is that they were lesbians for each other. And that's it. That was their identity for the whole book. I mean, I kind of felt like, I don't know. I think at one point when we started the audio, this might have skipped a little bit, that they're the ones responsible for driving the car into something and saving the main character. But other than that, I just felt like those 2 characters did not do much. Then there's Jason. Jason was the best character, but I knew from the moment I got introduced to the actual main character, whose name I literally can't remember right now. I'll maybe think to edit it on the screen if I care, but as soon as I got introduced to the actual main character, I knew Jason was screwed. Because I was like, oh, this is the guy that has it all under control. He's cautious. He knows what to do. He wants to survive this event for real. And he's not worried about like ridiculous moral quandaries that they can worry about 24 hours later. He brings a gun with him and he's like, if they get into this house, I'm going to shoot them because they are trying to kill us. I understand that tomorrow I might feel bad about that, but I'll be alive. So... Sorry, I got to get on my soapbox for this book for a second. The main character sucked. Your whole time you're in his head, you're like, all right. Like, I felt bad for him, and I wanted more of a reflection on how his emotions were having to literally kill his brother. And this is not a spoiler. It's in the beginning. It gets revealed right up front that the first time Saturation Day happened, his straight brother was at his house. and he has memories of like the blood on the floor and stuff like that. So yeah, he had to kill his own brother. And you're like, oh, snap. Like, wow, that is okay. We're going to reflect on that. Like, this should have changed him as a person. This should have made him like really more cautious or whatever. And I just felt like we got into the book and he's acting in ways that his brother in heaven would be like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you're going to get killed. Like, do better. Because he's like, oh, should I bring a weapon? No, I don't need to bring a weapon. Like, I need to try not to hurt these people. They're not themselves. And I think I think Chuck Tingle's more trying to write him as that character in the LGBT community that keeps trying to forgive the hostile elements in the world and say they'll come around and say that they will eventually do the right thing, but they never do. And by the end of the book, he's kind of finally adapted to the point where he's like, okay, maybe I need to be aware that I need to be more careful. I need to be aware that not everybody's out for my good, for my sake, I guess. I don't know. So 3.25 because the book was enticing enough to keep reading. Like, we did audio, so we were enjoying the narration. And it's short too. It was only like a 3.5 hour book. So it's not like we got 2 hours in and I'm like, oh God, I got 12 more hours of this character. No, we knew we were almost done at that point, but I just wish there was more exploration in there. Make it a little bit longer, explore that first saturation day a little bit more. Even for the two female characters, like I don't even think I remember off the top of my head like what their experience was on the first saturation day. We got Jason's a little bit, and then we got the main character, and then I don't know. So overall, it's not like I hated the book. I just wanted more. So anyways, there's Straight by Chuck Tingle. Moving on. All right. What am I reading right now? I am currently reading 3 books with a 4th one on the dock because I need a physical book. So my audio right now is I decided to all this talk at school with these kids wanting to get into Star Wars again. I was going through my Libby and I saw that they had the Revan book. With like the cool narration of it, it has like the background music and stuff. So I was like, oh, let's do that. Like, let's do a Star Wars book. Let's see if I can get back into Star Wars a little bit. And I'm enjoying it. It explores like Revan's story after the events of Knights of the Old Republic 1, maybe 2. I never played 2, so I don't know. But so I recognize some of the characters and stuff. He does it. Drew Kapsharin, I think's his name. He's done a few of these BioWare books because I know he did some of the Mass Effect ones as well. But he does a good job of like giving you what you need to know if you've never played the games, and anything that was from the games that it's not that important that you're missing out on. He gives you enough backstory without over dragging it. So I'm enjoying it. It's fun, like to hear the lightsaber sounds in the background of the audio while you're reading it. So that's a good time. So I'm reading Revan. I have 2 James Bond books left, so I picked up one of them on Kindle Unlimited, The Man with the Golden Gun. So that's the second to last one I need to read. There are way more. I'm talking about the Ian Fleming James Bond books. I don't know if I'm going to go past those, but I'm trying to read all of the Ian Fleming ones because I grew up a big James Bond fan. So I always wanted to read the books. And one of them, like Moonraker, is one of my favorite books I've ever read, ever. Like top 10 list for sure. But they're very hit or miss. They're either extremely good like Moonraker or they're just like almost like racist garbage. Like they flex. So I don't know. I haven't really gotten that far into Golden Gun yet. I'm still kind of in the beginning, so I'll let you guys know when I get a little bit further. But I'm also still reading Empire of the Dawn. I'm enjoying it. It's a very good book. I just had 2 double plot twists, one of which I called, the other I did not call. So that was cool. I'm just enjoying my time in it. I'm taking my time. It's kind of a nighttime read for me. I'll lay in bed and I'll say, all right, I'm going to get through 2 chapters. I'm just going to see what happens next in the story of Gabriel De Leon and Dior Lachance. So I'm like, let's just have some fun with it. So I'll probably finish it definitely by the end of August. I'm moving faster in it. So maybe by the end of next week, we'll see. Football practice kills me. So I don't know how much further I'm going to get. And I think the physical book I'm going to pick up, as I've been saying for a couple videos now, I think I'm ready to do my reread of Swan Song by Robert McCammon. So I'm going to get into that probably starting tomorrow. I'll also probably pick up one of my bookshelf books in my classroom that I haven't read yet, because while the kids are doing independent reading, I like to model it myself. So that way they can see, like, I'm not just making them do it for no reason, that I also am reading with them. Because I've noticed that when I do that, it kind of helps them stay focused. because they're not just looking at it as, oh, Mr. Duplantis is trying to waste time. It's like, no, I want you to read. Like, let's enjoy some stories together. So anyways, other things going on. Second and Charles near me had an event Saturday called Penny a Page, which I went to one time, but it's very crowded. What I learned the second time they did it is if you go there the day before, they often have already started adjusting the sales of their books. So my wife, while I was at football practice sweating my butt off, went there and picked up a whole bunch of cool stuff for the kids at school, like Dungeons and Dragons, Tourney of Terror. This is the Dungeon Academy book. Let's see, what else did she pick up? She picked up, oh, this is cool. I have the first two in my classroom. She got the next 3 Last Kids on Earth, which I think the kids are really going to like at school. She picked up a copy of Aragon. She read it when she was in school. I never did, but she said she might have a few students I'd want to show it to. So she picked up some K.R. Alexander stuff. So let's see. There is, K.R. Alexander does like the short horror, like The Collector, Haunt Me, Scare Me, blah, 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 so kids tend to like those. She picked up this cool little book. The description is really weird. It's Spindlefish and Stars. And it reminds me so much of like the way the Weave World, Clive Barker back of the cover read with like a tapestry and stuff and enchanting fantasy. I can't even pronounce half the words on the back of this, but it's for a girl from the shadows, a boy from the sea, their spellbinding adventure, So it's written for kids. So I don't know. That actually might be the one that I want to check out myself because I'm selfish and I want to read it. She found 2 Star Wars books to give to the kids that are interested in that. I think it's the Jedi Apprentice series. So I don't know if they connect or not. She also found these cool, so they have that Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous show on Netflix. She found the novelizations of it for like some of my lower readers who maybe like their Jurassic Park and want something dinosaur related. So there's that. All right. You're like, God, Brandon, you should be done by now. Nope. But the next one's it's a simple stack. So she picked up also these Five Nights at Freddy's, this set. It's the, what is this? This Tales from the Pizzaplex. So it's got like 7 of them. So she got the whole series, which is pretty dope because each one was like $1.20. So that was a great find. She also picked up these cool Mario stickers that I'll get to give out to students as they level up in my class. I do like an experience point system. So they level up and they get to put stickers on their level up sheet, which they all enjoy because it shows their personality by the end of the year. Anyways, that was a cool book haul. Gaming wise, I started playing Paper Mario 64 again. I'm going to try to beat it this time. I always get like 60% into the game and then life takes over and I forget about it. So I'm trying to make my way through it again. If you've played the game, I'm at the Shy Guy toy box area right now. So I'm moving my way through it. I'm excited because I think I finally figured out a way financially to get a Switch 2, which I know Nintendo's been doing a lot of things that people aren't a fan of. To be fair, most companies do things fans aren't happy about, but Nintendo's always been my thing. I'm a big Legend of Zelda person. They're coming out with the Ocarina of Time remake. They're coming out with a new Fire Emblem game. There's just so much stuff I want to try out that I just feel like, oh, I think I got a kitty behind me. Yep, there's a kitty. Piper! What? So, anyways, I think I might finally have enough to get a Switch 2. So that's kind of exciting because, I tend to be very selfless with my money. The truth be told, I know I did a bookshelf video and all that, but that's not even like most of my stuff I give away at some point or I let kids take. I brought, for instance, I had all this leftover fishing gear that I just had lying around from back in the day when I used to care about fishing. And I got a student this year. That's all he does all the time. Anytime he has free time, he goes out. So they're like, he goes to fish. So I was like, I'm not using this stuff. So I told this kid, I'll bring you some of my fishing stuff. He thought I was going to bring him one box. I brought him a whole bag of stuff with all that stuff. So I give away a lot of my stuff. So it's nice when I can finally get something for myself. And that'll be the Switch too. I think that covers it for today's weekend update. I know this was a lot, but I figured I had a lot of fun stuff to do. So I got my sign off, and today I think I'm going to sign off as Brunor Battlehammer. Y'all have a good weekend.